What's going on, Argos fans? Sean Bowen and Mike Hogan down here at BMO Field. Hoagie, we're off of a bye week. How was your week off, my friend?
In one sense, not long enough. In the other sense, too short. Like, let's get going. This is way too long. I'm after the Winnipeg win. Let's get back at this thing and fire it up against the Eskimos.
Well, I assume with a golf game such as yours, it probably is,
I take more strokes than anybody else. Yes, I get a better value for my dollar.
I hear you on that. I'm the exact same boat. Well, let's talk about that win against Winnipeg and that last final drive. Yeah. We covered it in the film room. You can check that out on Argonauts.ca. Let's talk about McLeod, Bethel, Thompson. A gutsy win, a hell of a performance, probably one of his best of his career. What did you like from that game, and in particular that drive just as a whole?
Well, McLeod, Bethel, Thompson, the thing that's killed him this season has been interceptions, and he really cut down on that. But the thing that I liked the most was he picked up the blitz. As a group, the Argonauts really did a good job. Winnipeg brought a lot of pressure on that last touchdown to S.J. Green. They brought 7. Great block by Chris Rainey, by the way.
Unbelievable block.
Fantastic block, and Mac picked it up. He threw where the pressure was coming from on a regular basis. Chris Schultz and I talked about it on the broadcast last week, how impressed we were at how prepared the Argonauts were for Winnipeg, and it'll be the same way against Edmonton.
It is crazy, though, that there wasn't enough made about that block by Chris Rainey, though. Yeah. And a phenomenal heads-up play. Okay, so let's go back a few weeks prior on that road trip, final game of the road trip against Edmonton. The offense, it looked like it was stuck in mud. I mean, there was nothing going on, and you compare that to, the first win of the season, and in particular, S.J. Green, who was on fire.
Yeah.
What does he do moving forward? What did you see from his game that you really liked, and how does he translate that into this week against Edmonton?
SJ is one of the best receivers in the history of the CFL, top 25 all time, and he's moving up the charts almost every week. Here's a guy that's one of the great possession receivers who still has the opportunity and the capability of going deep. With Darrell Walker, takes the double teams off SJ. If he's going to get the extra attention on one side, SJ is either going to be on the same side or the other side. He's got an opportunity to get one-on-one. There's not a lot of backs who can cover SJ Green constantly one-on-one, and we saw that. They took advantage of it, and that's the SJ we all know and love. He's more than capable of doing that every single night out.
And Hoagie, some news from this week. The Argonauts making a trade for Devon Coleman. Boy, oh boy, this guy's a pretty big player for this team here on the defensive line. 2 sacks in the season already. What does he bring to an already pretty talented defensive line for the Toronto Argonauts team?
It brings the depth on the inside, and if he plays like he did a year ago where he was an all-star in the West, it gives you another guy who can collapse the pocket, another guy that when Cleon is back, Cleon's going to be out for at least a week. When he and Cleon are in there together, it looks like a pretty dynamic duo potentially. He gives you a guy who's going to just add another good player, increases the talent level of the rotation on the inside. He's a good player, and he was miscast. They played mostly a 30 front, a 3-man front in BC. Most defensive tackles hate playing that zero technique right over the center. This should free him up a little bit, and this is a godsend for him, getting out of a system that no defensive tackles like to play into a very aggressive Corey Chamberlain defense. He's going to love it here.
So we won't see Cleon, we won't see Coleman this week. Coach talked earlier this afternoon about getting pressure to Trevor Harris. So let's hope the guys who are in can make the difference. It's a CNE night this week, actually, right? So it's our big CNE game down here at BMO Field. Limited tickets left, so you do want to make sure you get your hands on them. It's going to be an awesome night. And if we go back to our last home game, the crowd here was phenomenal. You guys were amazing. Couldn't hear myself think sitting on the sidelines. It was fantastic. It's also you can play night. So make sure you come down, bring the family. It's going to be a fantastic game. We take on the Edmonton Eskimos 7:30 right here at BMO Field. Mike Hogan will be on the radio, TSN 1050 with Chris Schultz as well if you want to listen there as well. On behalf of Mike Hogan, I'm Sean Bowen. Thanks very much for joining us. We will see you guys next week.